March 27. I know it's hard because it's an old that we had to pull document. March 27, 1911. Say that, 1911. Okay, and I wasn't going to I can't put it all because you won't be able to read it clear, but I can read what this says. It says, an undivided one-half interest in and to a certain tract or parcel of land, together with all the buildings and improvements thereon, situated in the parish of East Baton Rouge on Perkins or Middle Highland Road. So what now is Mosside Lane, for those who are familiar with that, at this time was called Perkins or Middle Highland Road, containing 399 and 82 hundredths of an acre, more or less a piece of land measuring 200 square feet, sold by the Zealand Company. 2, it doesn't give a name. There's a line there where you see Louisiana, but it says sold to, so there was a representative there. And it says they're representing, if they got the Zealand on there, see if that part, it's down at the bottom, it's not on that part, this is the top part. But it says represented by sold by the Zealand Company. 2, it has a line representing the 68 Baptist Church. So a person who didn't, I don't know if they may have not been able to write, but in that line, they probably put an X, or that information wasn't available to the public. They represent 68 Baptist Church. In 1911, it was sold. Wait, it's going to get a little bit more. The land being the real tract of the Richland Plantation. That's the Richland Plantation. So let me get to here. The Richland Plantation, which was up where Pennington and all that, the owner of it died, because it goes on to say acquired by deceased, and it gives you the act and the book number. So the owner of the Richland Plantation died, and the plantation went into sheriff's sale and was sold off to various buyers. 68 bought the piece that had the old shack that they always describe, which was the former slave quarter. And in March 27, 1911, 68 did his first transaction of buying property of land. So they bought a piece of property with a former slave quarter. And that was the first church, formerly the Richland Plantation. That's the shack that they always talk about. There was a former slave quarter on the Richland Plantation. It was handled and sold by the Zealand Company, and the person who did all of the selling off name was J.W. Monjet. And it has all of his number and tells you the book number, act, record, and so forth and so on. So we have now, as a matter of historical document, the first piece of property and shack, which was a slave quarter that 68 acquired under the name of 68. And that was in 1911. And they stayed there until 1952, when they moved to Raven Street. And then from there to 2005, when they moved here. So we can at least trace now each piece of property that was owned by 68. And we also are supposed to go to the archives, because now that they know what the plantation they're going to pull to see, are there any pictures of that shack, that quarter, or the plantation, and so forth, that they could give to us. But thank God that we were able to find. So When they say that this church come from a long way, it came from a long way. So it's Pennington that now, there's Mosside Lane where you have Concord Estate and all of that. But that was formed, and I think some of you all remember LSU back where Pennington is, when that was a cotton farm. You know, it was actually later bought by LSU, all of that, and then of course it was sold. And so I wanted to add that as just a matter of record to show from which we come. From a slave shack with no windows, no lights, no doors, no running water. A former meeting place where the slaves would gather on the plantation, no doubt to have prayer meeting and preach the gospel. And God blessed them after 68 was formed in 1876 to buy that shack and become its first piece of property that they owned until they purchased the later one in 52. Stand to your feet and we celebrate God from whence he brought us. Come on, I think it's worthy of just a praise unto God. Come on.